Hello everyone, and thanks for tuning in to the Medium by Design. It's nice and early. So a couple of things came up since that last incident, because remember, there is a purpose to everything if you choose to dig a little deeper and go a little further. So I want to talk today about a little bit more about programming of karma and the theme of karma and taking our power back. Because I think these two themes, from what I'm receiving this morning, go hand in hand. Let's take karma first. Originally, on a soul level, karma was incarnating into this life, into a timeline, and repaying soul debts and receiving from others that were indebted to us on a soul level. So that was easy to understand, and the souls that incarnated agreed to that system. It is a system, and it's a program. What I'm receiving this year is that is more of a choice now. As we take our power back, we can choose not to partake in a karmic situation. So, getting back to the incident, if you didn't see video 7, the one before this one. So, everybody's there for a reason, right? But not only does everybody have a role to play, but they also have their own responsibility. So, you have to understand the multi-layers of what's going on when something's happening. And that's what we trip up. We don't know. So, what the theme of this taking my power back has gone on through my whole life, because I presented myself as someone you can say anything to, that you can be yourself, supporting you to be you, which I always have done. And then I would pay a price for that. It was my own karmic programming, that you can be anything you want at the expense of me, right? But throughout my life, there's been periods, just like this past one, when, good morning, just like this past one, when I chose not to partake anymore. And I used the battered woman as an example of when the soul wakes up and realizes, hey, you're done, right? And I love that example because it's very dramatic and it's very strong. The soul decides, okay, we're done here, we're out of here. And that is the most liberating feeling you can ever have, is to just be yourself and make a choice for yourself, for your own self-preservation and for your own success path. In whatever arena, it doesn't even matter what it is. You can have that liberating feeling starting a business, quitting a job, getting a divorce, having a baby. The liberation and the freedom to express can come in all sorts of forms. That's why there's no generality to explain it, because it's the co-creating of your experience. So, what I noticed, the theme, every time I would decide to take my power back, the other people or person involved would have a reaction, right? And the other part of the theme is, and I'm going to exaggerate and generalize, which I try not to do, but I think this is true. Every time I've done it, the person involved had an agenda, a personal agenda of what they wanted from me, okay? And taking my power back, I'm stating, yeah, you may want that, but you can't have it. And then that triggers a reaction in them. So I tend not to have too many personal agendas overlaying onto other people because I want them to be themselves. And I don't want to create instant karma with somebody. And I'm going to talk about that. A more instant in the moment karma. When you study the law of attraction, you're almost playing with karma. Like you're sending out energy and then you are open to receive that energy back, right? And of course, you're doing that in a positive way. You really want to do that in order to create what you want, which is great. That's really great. But if you're sending out a lower vibration energy frequency, you get to receive that too. And that's more of an instant karma thing. And that's why we have to study energy. That's why we have to understand energy. Because energy is ruling everything. And this is why we have to be aware of our reactions. Because reactions are energy, and then they perpetuate results that we really don't want. So one of my gal pals, she likes to see everything as a little test, and then you get through the test and you move on. Well, that's a nice way to look at things. My other friend that wrote an email this morning said a few things, but I don't want to say too much about it except this taking back of the power and how everybody plays a role, and that all of that was chosen before we were born. And even that program, with the information I'm receiving now, is changing. I have a message that I don't know that I read on YouTube yet, that the experiment of the law of karma is changing on the other side. That the people that lay out these things are changing them because souls are using time. This is going to sound weird. We're not exactly using our time wisely. Now, you'll hear teachers tell you that, spiritual teachers and just teachers in general, tell you that for the time you're living in the physical body. But on the other side, there are councils and beings that are helping to form how we live in a physical body on the earth. And that's all changing too. Because let's face it, if you look at the history of humanity, we're a little bit behind. We're still into an eye for an eye, a life for a life. We're into revenge and jealousy. And not everybody, and not all of you, of course. Most of the people that, well, I shouldn't say that. I don't know, because I don't know everybody's personal life. But I would assume, and let me be careful, I would assume that most people that listen to me are past the jealousy and the lower emotions. That may not be true, but I'm going to assume it is. And that helps with releasing you personally from karma with people. And that's important because you really, really want to be a free, liberated soul. That's really one of the end games here, is that you're free to express. And again, I always go back to the freedom of expression is not about imposing onto others. It's more like an invitation for people to join in your creation. And then if everybody gives permission and is in consensus, then we all move forward together. And that's what happens on a remodel job. I do the design, I talk to the owner, then I relay the design to the contractor, and he relays it to the subcontractors, and everybody comes into alignment to be on the same page. And we are so sensitive, everybody can be so sensitive, because we're wired to know when the energy is not in alignment. And this is what would change karma. If you stay in the highest alignment for the good of all, then there is no karma. It's all positive, There's no negative karma, sorry. So, in taking my power back, I'm breaking the karmic tie that other souls and myself agreed to, that I would sacrifice my energy, my life force, myself, my free will that I would sacrifice that for another. And that is a theme in my life, because that was a theme in many other lives. So this is how the karma plays out. But now the beings on the other side are awakening many souls, especially the old souls, and they're remembering. And in one video I mentioned this young guy on Gaia talking about civilizations that were here and how the human was formed and how he remembers his life on Atlantis. And this is great, because this is and hopefully it's true. You know, I watch everybody with a very skeptical eye because I really want to know, okay, are you telling the truth, or is this a story that you just think is a good story for TV? But in this case, and there's always truth in everything anyway, even if it's a made-up story, there's truth in there. There's always truth in there if you can decipher what's what. So, morning.
Good morning.
So he's explaining about the civilizations, and since I don't have Gaia TV, I haven't been able to watch that series yet, but I'm sure it's very interesting. So, as we go through the day today, let's contemplate where we may have had karmic ties, make a new decision to clear those ties, and walk more confidently in, I don't have to be part of that anymore, that I've made a conscious choice. And once you do that and the energy is completely dissipated in you, then it can't be played out in another. And that's what causes the trigger in someone else, because their agenda can't ride through. It can't continue. And once you understand that, once you understand you're not part of that dance and they get it, they might have a negative reaction, because you're not being the person that they contracted to play this out with. And part of them is saying, oh, this really is over. And you're like, yeah, it's over. So maybe that's a big part of what's going on in 2020. Maybe this is a big ending to karma and all the negative karma that we have created. And we truly are embarking on a new way of life on all forms, all layers. So this is something to contemplate. And if you're in agreement, remember what I taught about programming. Once you agree, it becomes you, right? So if you agree that you're done with karma and playing out negative karma and giving up your free will, if you agree to that and it's cleared in your body as well as your mind, if it's completely clear, then you should be done. So we can agree that we're done with karmic connections. And then if they do come up, we can be so clear in ourselves that it's just a small wave or a small blip, and then it's gone, and then we don't have to deal with it anymore. But if we are not sure and we don't decide, then that may continue for a while, right? Now, when my gal pal says it was a little test, and she says that, I hear something else in addition to that. I hear that in order for me to be me fully and express to you in a larger way, I can't have any of those ties. Because those people with their agenda are trying to hold my expression back in some way. So I have to be super, super clear that this is it. And the person I thought of today, that was actually two people that express in the way they want no matter what. There's actually multiple ones, but the first person that popped in my head was Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins is a very interesting person and really, really has inspired millions of people and people from many countries. And you know, the surface story to that is really amazing, right? How do you touch that many people? And Tony Robbins has a definite way, a definite program of his own in order to achieve and co-create the things that he wants to do, right? And the people that are involved with that, they agree, and they're happy to agree, you know? This is what they wanted to do. They want that energy. They want that feeling that they get when they work with him. And that's great because everybody's in agreement, right? That's the key. But it's when there is not an agreement, that's when the friction starts. So the more conscious and awake we become, and we know the roles that people are playing, and we're paying attention to our intuition, like I did when I got the text, I was like, something's up. Okay? So I had already cut the karmic tie and was unwilling to play that game, and that's what triggered the reaction. So, and then by having that reaction in front of me again, it gave me a second chance to say no. And I didn't have a reaction. I didn't play, I didn't dance in the energy. So that's what I want you to take with you today, is that you can choose to dance with the energy or not. And once you do, there may be a little fallout, but once the fallout's done, we should be complete. So let's walk today with the idea of I am complete, and watch the sunrise. So enjoy your day, and let's see what else is to come. Thanks for watching The Medium by Design.